What's up guys, it's your boy Zane Tatao, and in this video, I'm going to be exposing the raw reality of being a sneaker reseller. I put up a poll on my Instagram asking you guys to ask me questions, so we're going to go through all those questions and I'm just going to answer truthfully exactly what has been going on with my personal life, my sneaker reselling experience, and just the market in general. So with that being said, let's hop right into it, and if you're new here, you should subscribe, but watch this video first so that you have a reason to subscribe, and yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so the first question is, how often do I prioritize going to sneaker reselling shows and how much does that help? So I try to go to a sneaker event every single month if I can. Now with school, it's not always possible. I'm still a senior at the University of Tennessee. I'm in my last semester right now. Now I'm actually heading to Boston in a couple of weeks for Boston Got Soul, and sneaker events are honestly really good. Super easy to meet people there, makes for great content, and then for buying, it's also usually pretty good. Now this depends. Some sneaker events are just trash for buying because people just want to charge like the absolute moon for everything, but the vast majority of the time we can spend a good amount of money on inventory. And all of the major suppliers, Sunny Diamonds, Oscar Souls, all these people, I've built connections with them online because I have a decent presence on Instagram, but actually meeting them in person is how I was able to really establish like true connections. So going to these events can be a great way if you're new to the sneaker world, or if you've been a long-time reseller. If no one knows your face or your name, it's very, very hard to establish yourself without going and meeting these people in real life. So I love going to sneaker events. I think they're a blast, and you're basically making money to travel, if that makes sense. Like Boston's one of my favorite cities. If you guys are going to be there, make sure you come find me and let me know so we can get food or just hang out at the event. But yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do for sure. Okay, next question from Colt Reselling. As a new reseller, how can we buy and sell shoes quickly without solid connections? So honestly, you can't. You need to be able to sell shoes quickly. You need solid connections, but your best bet right off the jump, if you don't have solid connections, is first to put a system in place to get better connections. So I have a ton of content here on YouTube and on my Instagram that you can watch, but ultimately start with the stores in your local area and build relationships with them. Every single store owner that's in my area, I can call up their personal number right now and figure out exactly what they need. And I was just doing that like right before I made this video. So that's how I'm able to sell stuff so quickly locally, is because I know what stores are buying. Now, the best thing that you can do to just quickly make money reselling, right now, bricks have been really, really good. So join a group that has good brick links. My Discord group has brick links in it. There's tons of other options for you there too. Or you could just follow on Twitter or manually look at sites trying to find stuff that's good, and then just sell on platforms like StockX, Go, eBay, Amazon. Like all these platforms are a good option when you don't have real solid connections. But to be able to buy and sell quickly, it's all about your network and it's all about your connections. So there really is no shortcut to that. You have to put in the work to build those relationships with stores and ultimately get those connections to do more business. And going to sneaker events can be a great way to do that. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, next question from JawLike301. How did I get started? Okay, I love to tell a story. So the way I first got started with sneakers is actually from used shoes. So it was a pair of Jordan 1 Royal Toes. I was just watching TikTok and Instagram videos for so long, probably 6 months, before I actually decided to just go on Facebook and try. And I eventually found some kid. He was selling his old collection because he was moving out for college and he just didn't want to take any of these shoes with him. And I convinced him to let me get this pair for like $100. It was super dirty, like muddy, and I don't know, he must have stepped in, I don't want to get into it, he probably stepped in poop. But I got the pair, I cleaned it up, I threw it on eBay, and this was like Christmas time. So the pair sold on December 26th, and I made $70 profit on my first ever flip. And this like completely blew my mind. So after this moment, I was like, yo, I just made $70 buying a shoe, putting a little soap on it and cleaning it up. And for the longest time, I'd been working at a falafel shop. So I was making sandwiches for 11 bucks an hour. So making $70 was literally 7 hours of my time, and it was much more exhausting than going and buying a shoe from some random college kid, chopping it up for 15 minutes, and then throwing it back on eBay, right? Which was like max a 1 hour process. And this is really what kind of opened the door for me. As time went on, to really scale, it's hard to do it with used shoes because you just can't buy enough supply. Like on your own, you need a team to do that, to really buy enough pairs to profit. So with that being said, I kind of expanded into bulk, and that's a lot of what I'm doing now, wholesale bulk, mainly buying new and DS shoes, and that's kind of what we stuck to, and that's what's worked for me so far. But yeah, I ultimately got my start from used shoes, and I think this is the best way for any beginner to start reselling shoes, is with the used market. Okay, great question here. What do you do to mentally recharge when you need a break? So I think this is one of the most important things about owning a business or trying to own a business, is what you do when you're not working. So I'm very structured with my day. Like pretty much every minute of the day is planned out because I'm trying to do so many things at once between school and make content for you guys and actually continue to run and scale the business, and also the personal commitments I have and going to events and hanging out with friends. It's a lot, right? So a couple things that I like to do, and this is going to sound some like very, very Tennessean. I like to just go to the gun range and just practice my aim. It's just nice, maybe 50 rounds, right? It takes me about an hour, and not super expensive. It's like 18 bucks for a box of 50 rounds. And I just practice on hitting the target. Nice, cool, calm, collected, right? On top of that, boxing, running, mainly physical activity is kind of what helps me recharge. I go to my run club every Tuesday, and I try to meet new people through that and just go and run. When snowboarding season comes up, it's probably gonna be snowboarding. Just any kind of physical activity usually really helps me recharge and stay mentally sound. And then on Sundays, I like to just keep my schedule open, watch videos on maybe an upcoming place I might be traveling to, or sometimes literally just sitting there and doing absolutely nothing. Also, I've been a big reader recently, so right now I'm reading Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, and this book's honestly really solid. It teaches a lot of like negotiation strategies. So reading at the end of the day, usually for 30 minutes to an hour, is what I've been trying to do, and kind of just helps me, like, I guess, slow down a little bit because everything is always so fast paced. Okay, another good question. How do I balance personal life and business life? And the truth is, it's kind of hard. You really can't. People always ask me like how I balance going to school full time and then running the business. And a lot of the times I'm sacrificing going to school to run the business. And sorry if any of my teachers are watching this, but it's just the truth. You have to have priorities in life, and I think this is why a lot of people struggle in business, because everyone wants to do every single business model at once, and I was the same way. You want to do drop shipping, you want to do TikTok shop, you want to do sneakers, you want to do Amazon, you want to start an agency, you want to do copywriting, you want to do all of it at once, and you think that you can, but the reality is you actually can't. You have to focus on one thing for a long period of time, and if you look at all of the most successful people in the online business realm, they've stuck to one thing for a long period of time before they branched out into something else. And that's why they were able to see the results that they did. So this is something that I'm still kind of battling, not taking on new ventures and new projects when I have the opportunity. But yeah, it's hard, but you really can't add too much to your plate, because like for me, I love to have a day that's just filled up with stuff. But if you have one bad night of sleeping or one bad meal that kind of crashes your energy, it can throw off your whole day because the day is so structured. So sometimes having not that much to do is better than having a whole bunch of stuff to do, as long as you're working on that one business or that one idea and putting the right effort into that. Okay, the next question is, what platforms do I resell on? So I honestly resell on every major platform you can think of. Amazon, StockX, eBay. I'll kind of break down how I do like what I sell on each of these platforms. So still primarily selling shoes. Sometimes on Amazon we'll branch out and sell different things just because we see opportunities, but StockX is all like brick links, all new shoes. Obviously you can't sell used shoes on StockX. eBay, I mainly use it for anytime I get used stuff, which is not often, or just selling returns. So a lot of the time from like Amazon, you get 1 million customer returns. Like our return rate is pretty high on shoes actually. And sometimes the customer will just smash the box. So sometimes we can get reimbursed from that, sometimes we can't. And we just use eBay as a way to liquidate bad stuff and just try to recuperate some loss, because a lot of the time there's just not much that you can do. So eBay in a way is kind of like a liquidation platform. Whereas like StockX, Mercari is actually really good. People sleep on Mercari, but StockX, Mercari, and Amazon are like the platforms where we're actually trying to push crazy amount of volume. And then recently, I've been expanding with maybe Poison and some of these other platforms. So haven't really sold much on there, but I'm always not opposed to looking at new platforms and seeing what else I can do. And then obviously one of the major sources of revenue for us is wholesale, selling directly to other resellers or sneaker stores. So that's not really a platform, but I guess it's like a selling channel in a way. And that's kind of how all the revenue is made up from the business. What is the biggest piece of advice I would give someone who wants to start their own business? I would honestly just say do it, because so many people wait for the perfect opportunity or all the stars to line up, and the reality is that never actually happens. And that's why so many people never start a business or never see success in business. I was talking to someone that I met at the run club, and he loves to cook. He's been cooking for many, many years. He's like 25, 26 now, so still a young guy, right? Not super old. But he feels like, one, that he's too far gone to start a business because of his age, which is stupid. But he also was like, I don't really know how to start. I don't really know what to do. And the reality is, when I started, I had no idea I would get to this point. Well, that's not true. I always trusted that I would get to this point, and I always knew deep down that I was capable of doing this. I didn't know exactly how I would get to this point, which I think is a better way to phrase that statement, but like I knew I was gonna get here. So you're never gonna really know how to get to where you wanna go. You just have to have a vision, and you just figure it out as you go. So if you wanna be a chef in a restaurant, you probably have no idea how to run a restaurant. If you wanna open a coffee shop, you've probably never opened a coffee shop before, so you probably have no idea how to do that. You can buy some books on it, but at some point you're gonna have to actually try, because whatever that person put in that book can only help you so much, because the real way to learn is just by taking action. So I think it's good to invest in education, and I invest a ton of money into education outside of college. I spent probably close to $30,000-$40,000 in just the last year on online education from coaches, mentors, stuff like that. And it's worth it because the amount of info that you can gather from someone else's experience can really benefit your own experiences. But ultimately, none of that stuff really matters unless you just take action, right? There's a lot of stuff that a mentor might tell me is their way of doing things, and I'm like, I don't like that. And I try something else, and the something else works way better for me than whatever it is that they were trying to teach me. So the number one piece of advice I can give anyone that wants to start any business is just to start, because that's honestly what holds most people back for their entirety of their life. Okay, is sneaker reselling dead? I get this question all the time, and the truth is, no, sneaker reselling is not dead. Now, one thing I will say, sneaker reselling has gotten a lot harder. Actually, on these Alma Mini Air 4s, I posted a video about this a little while ago. I lost over $1,000 from this one shoe from just a really stupid buying decision. And the reality is a lot of sneakers now just aren't profitable if you're buying them for retail. If you're buying them directly from sites with tax and with shipping, you're gonna lose money on a good amount of shoes if you're not buying the right stuff. But is sneaker reselling dead? Absolutely not. In fact, I'm actually pretty hopeful that 2025 will pick up a lot more. The sneaker market will start to stabilize in terms of the weird ups and downs. But I think a lot of people are basing the livelihood of the sneaker market off of the crazy bubble that was COVID and how insane the market was. But a lot of markets had the same exact thing. Watches were very similar, Rolexes, APs, everything was just at the moon in price. Now a lot of them are coming back down to like regular prices. So does that mean the sneaker market's dead? No, people are still buying sneakers every day. I just sold a pair of sneakers literally 2 days ago for $2,000. So people are still buying high-end sneakers too, but strategy has changed completely. You can't sell a few shoes a month, 50 shoes a month and make $10,000, $15,000. You're gonna have to sell a lot more than that to make that kind of profit, because it's a volume game. I mean, straight up, there's no other way around it. Volume is the way to succeed right now, and that's just simple. You just have to move volume. So is sneaker reselling dead? Absolutely not. Make a video for people who aren't in America but still want to make money reselling. So I'll be completely honest, I don't have much experience outside of America selling products, just because it's not really in my scope. Now, one thing that you can do is you can build a relationship with a third-party logistics company within the US and then do all of your buying and selling within the US. Just have someone else handle your fulfillment. Now, the problem with this is, as a beginner, this is kind of tough because a lot of fulfillment centers will require, or 3PLs will require minimums. Now, I might be able to connect you with a couple people as long as you can provide certain minimums, right? Like my prep center has a minimum of like 2,000 units a month. So if you can't do that, then I mean, I'll see what I can do. So if you want to shoot me a message on Instagram, I'll try and help you. I don't know, it's not my warehouse. I can't pull all the strings, but that's really only your main option. I don't understand the other markets though, so I can't speak on them, but there is a market for shoes in other countries, 100%. I just don't understand those markets, and I don't have a way of understanding those markets because I'm not in those countries. So do the best you can to try and tap into the US market. But if you're in China or in one of those like countries that gets similar, like Europe, European countries, China, they get different allocations of inventory. So sometimes you can take advantage of the market being kind of off by selling to people in the US and just shipping overseas, becoming an overseas supplier. So see if you can find someone in your area that's already doing that and become the source for resellers in the US. That would be my best suggestion. Yeah, that's really all I think I can help you out with at this point. What's the biggest challenge you faced in your life and how did you overcome it? So I would say the biggest challenge I ever faced in my life when I had to quit basketball due to hip injury. So a lot of you probably don't know this, but I had a dream of playing in the NBA like most high school and college basketball players do. I was playing Division II at a school here in Tennessee, and I was forced to redshirt my first year and then ultimately quit because I had a labrum tear, and this was really, really devastating for me. I put on like 30 or 40 pounds during this time, and I'm just now starting to lose like a lot of that weight just from getting back locked in. But this time was hard because I had to quit the only thing that I knew and pivot into a completely different direction, which was online business, and it sucked, right? In the moment, I felt like my whole world had come crashing down. Looking back on it, it was 100% the best thing that ever happened to me, because I would still be chasing a basketball dream, probably not making a bunch of money, probably not have accomplished the things that I've accomplished. So it's really easy in life to look at when bad things happen to you and ask like why, but I have full faith in God. I'm a practicing Muslim, if you are Muslim, for my real Muslim followers on here. So I always knew that there was a deeper meaning behind why, and ultimately everything worked out, and I believe everything is always going to work out in the way that God has it planned out. So yeah, I would say the way I overcame that was just by putting faith in God and trusting the path that I was being pushed in. But yeah, it was definitely not an easy time for me, and hopefully I never have to go through anything like that again, because it sucked. All right guys, sweet. I think this is going to be the last question. So if I had one piece of advice to a beginner sneaker reseller in 2024, what would it be? Seek out help and community. That's my number one piece of advice. Whether it's my community and working with me and my team, or it's finding someone else, You need, in this game right now, it's so tough to do everything on your own. In business in general, it's like damn near impossible to do anything on your own. So find the right people around you, and I would not be where I am today without my business partner Aiden, without the team that we have, without the people that I've met. It'd be impossible. Or it would have just been a lot more stressful and a lot more headache filled. So put the right people in your life so that you can go out and make these moves without being lonely the entire time, because that is another like mental thing. Being lonely on this journey sucks. So my piece of advice for any sneaker reseller: seek out help, join communities, go to sneaker events, meet people, just take action, just start doing stuff. I think like so many people just never take action on anything. You see all the people in front of you doing the things that you want to do. For 6 months, I saw people on Instagram and TikTok living the life that I wanted to, making money reselling. And I finally, on the 7th month, decided it was time to actually take a chance. And that's what changed my life forever. So take action and get started. If you guys have any questions for me, drop them down in the comments below. I'll try to answer all of them. And follow me on Instagram, because I post stuff like this all the time where you guys can engage with me, ask me questions. All of these questions were pulled from my Instagram story. So if you guys want to ask me more questions or connect with me, you can feel free to follow me on there. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like it, and let me know what else you guys want to see, because I'm trying to go hard on YouTube for the rest of this year and all of 2025. With that being said, hopefully you guys took away something from this. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.